Welcome to my class. Psalms 37 verse 5. Commit thy way unto the Lord, trust also in him, and he shall bring it to pass. God bless us all. Keep safe and enjoy learning.
Good day everyone! Our lesson for today is all about the adaptation of plants. So for today's lesson, we will discuss how the plants adapt to their environment and to their surroundings. From our previous lessons, we discussed the parts of a plant and the classification of plants. So most plants have characteristics that protect them from animals, unpredictable weather, and from damage of human beings. These structures lessen the possibility of being eaten, damaged, or uprooted. So this is how the plants adapt to their environment. So they are protecting themselves from any unwanted happenings. Okay? So let's discuss how do plants adapt to their environment. So plants adapt to their environment in different ways in order to survive. So we will discuss that different ways in order to survive the plants in our environment. Okay, the first one is special parts for self-protection. So special parts for self-protection, plants just like animals have special structures to protect themselves from the environment. So the first one in special parts for self-protection is sharp and abundant thorns. Rose plant, bamboo, pomelo, and makahiya. These plants is the example of sharp and abundant thorns. Their thorns prevent you from touching the plants. Thorns also keep grazing animals away. So if you can see in rose, di ba po may tinik-tinik ang rose? So yun yung nagbibigay protection sa kanya from us, human beings, and from animals, predators, from touching. So prevent them for touching their stem. So that's the way that they are protecting themselves. Okay, next, number 2 in special parts for self-protection is sharp leaf blades. Sabihin po, matatalas na dahon. Okay, so we have the talahib and the sugarcane as the best example of sharp leaf blades or matatalas na dahon. These plants have sharp leaf blades that can cut the skin. Most of them are thin and elongated. So, in sharp leaf blades, it can cut your skin. So, masusugatan tayo once na nahawakan natin siya or hindi natin sinasadyang mahawakan siya. So, that is sharp leaf blades. The third one, offensive odors. This plant is found in Malaysia and smell like decaying animals. So, this is the Rafflesia. If you can see in the picture, it is a big flower that it has a decaying animal-like smell. So, medyo mabaho yung kanyang amoy. So, that is the offensive odor. Some plants have offensive odor para maprotektahan ang kanilang sarili. Okay, next. The third one is the poisonous and itchy substance. So, this is the example. We have the pandakaki, lipay, poison ivy, tobacco plant. Okay? This plant secretes substance that irritate the skin. The poison is secreted through their leaves when insects feed on them. Okay? That is the poisonous and itchy substance. So, it can be irritate the skin of the person who will touch this kind of plant. Okay? Next, the second one is the adaptation related to reproduction or seed dispersal. Under adaptation related to reproduction or seed dispersal is the sweet fragrances, mababango. So that is Some of the examples: the fragrance attracts insects and other animals that are instrumental to propagate the plants. So, best example of these insects is the bees and the butterflies. So, once they touch the flower and move to another flower, that is the time to propagate the plants. Next, under adaptation related to reproduction or seed dispersal is the presence of hooks. The Amorseco plant have hooks that attach themselves easily to the hair of the animals and the clothes of people passing by. The seeds are transported through the hooks. So, sa pamamagitan ng hook ng Amorseco plant, they can easily attach to the hair of animals and to the clothes of people na dumadaan sa kanilang paligid. Halimbawa, naglakad ka sa damuhan, tapos may Amorseco plant. Pag labas nyo dun sa damuhan, paglagpas nyo dun, papansin nyo kung kayo ay nakapantalon, di kaya naman ay naka-jogging pants, or any long jeans, you can see that there are Amorseco plants in your jeans. Okay po? So, that is the best example. Next, the third one is the adaptation to climate and weather conditions. So, under the adaptation to climate and weather conditions is the adaptation through leaves. The shapes and sizes of leaves vary depending on the environment. These plants growing in shaded areas have leaves that are dull and smooth. They have a larger leaves in order to absorb more sunlight. So, the shapes and sizes of leaves is vary depending on the environment. Next, the plant with good exposure to sunlight usually have a waxy or heavy covering to prevent them from drying out. For example, the cactus plant has a thick green stem that can store water to endure the strong sunlight during the dry season. Next, in places where the wind is strong, plants like pines or pine trees and other types of plants have small and needle-shaped leaves. So, adaptation through their leaves. So, nag-a-adapt yung leaves depending on the weather conditions. Okay po? Next, some aquatic plants. This is the example of aquatic plants. They don't have long roots, but they do have broad leaves. They also have enlarged spaces within the leaves that enable them to float. So, aquatic plants use their leaves to float in the water areas. Okay po? They have a broad leaves, malalapad na dahon for them to be able to float in the water. Next, the leaf arrangement affects how the plants get their sunlight for photosynthesis. This is also one of their adaptation for survival. Plants in very dry regions and with little rainfall have few leaves and spines to lessen the amount of water loss. So the leaf arrangement also affects the plants. So to get their sunlight for photosynthesis. Next one is the adaptation to light, water, touch, and gravity. Plants respond to their environment in various ways. Since they need light, they also move toward light. This moving response is called tropism, a response to such stimuli as light, water, touch, and gravity. Again, tropism is a response to such stimuli as light, water, touch, and gravity. So, what are the kinds of tropism? We have four kinds of tropism. The first one is the Phototrophism, as the plant response of moving or toward or away from a light source. Again, this is the plant response for moving toward or away from light source. The stimulus in any change or condition in the environment that requires action or response. Light is a stimulus. When plants move toward the light, this is called positive Phototrophism. When it moves away from the light, it displays negative Phototrophism. So this is the example of Phototrophism, direct sunlight. So it can be called the positive Phototrophism. So for more further explanation, please watch the next video.
Plants need to make their own food through photosynthesis. They're really good at maximizing the amount of light they take in. Their leaves are essentially just biological solar panels filled with light-absorbing biological machinery. Obviously, leaves that are directly facing the light are going to absorb more energy than leaves that are facing the wrong direction, and plants are pretty good at making sure their leaves are facing the right direction. We're talking about a certain type of tropism. Tropism comes from an old Greek word tropos, which means turning. When words start with photo, it means it's got something to do with the light. So phototropism is when plants turn or move in response to light. I'm going to show you what I mean with some bean sprouts. I prepped a small plastic tub with some cotton wool, then sprinkled some seeds on top. I added water and gave it a few days. Next, I took a cardboard box, cut out a section of the side for light to enter, and a hole in the front for the camera. Once the plants were established, I put them in the box, turned the lamp on to shine through the side, and put the camera in the front. I left them to do their thing for about 24 hours. All of the plants that had any light falling on them moved and grew towards the only source of light available to them, with the leaves receiving as much direct light as possible. This is happening because of auxins. Auxins are hormones, chemicals that send messages through a plant, and they're released from the tip and move down the stem. Auxins can make cells get longer, which means if auxins were applied equally to all cells, the plant would grow taller. But if light reaches a plant from one side, auxins will accumulate on the darker side. This means the cells on the darker side will grow longer than those on the bright side. Picture columns of cells side by side, and imagine only one side receives any sunlight. The cells on the darker side would accumulate auxins and grow longer, forcing the stack to bend to the side until the top of the stack is pointing toward the light. For plants, the effect of auxins causes the whole stem to bend in one direction, making the tip and the leaves face towards the light.
Okay, next is the Hydrotrophism. This form of trophism mainly occurs in the roots. The plant bends toward a water source. This is the example of Hydrotrophism. For more further explanation, please watch the next
today
video.
I'm going to use my massive beaker and some relatively tiny broad beans to show you how geotropism works. So if we look at our broad beans close up, you can see they have this end on them, and this is the end where things are going to start happening. But what I want to show you is, does it matter whether this end is pointing down, or does it matter whether it's pointing up, or does it matter whether it's pointing sideways? So here they are, with a little nodule on the left, with it on the right, with it on the bottom, and with it on the top. I will water these and track these over a few days and show you in which direction the shoots and the roots grow. 3 days in, and we can see one of the little thingy-bobs is producing a little root. So this one we have something coming down, here we have something emerging, and this one, something is emerging at the top. It is July, so very warm and sunny, and very quickly all of these have produced shoots, roots that are going downwards, and here we have a shoot that is going up. You can see root development is coming along really well now, with all 4 pointing roots down below. This one here, the shoot hasn't started up yet. This one's kind of thinking about it, and the other 2 have shoots going upwards. So here are our broad beans after about 2 weeks. And you can see in all of them, the roots are growing downwards and the shoots are growing upwards. So this is an example of geotropism, because all of the roots are going downwards towards gravity and all of the shoots are growing upwards away from gravity. So here are our plants, and just to recap, this one here had the little nodule at the top, this one had the little nodule at the bottom, this one had the little nodule on the right, and this one had the little nodule on the left. But it doesn't matter where that little nodule is, it doesn't matter which way up, round or down the seed is, all that matters is the effect that gravity has on the way that the seeds are growing. So we can see all of these roots downwards and all of the shoots growing upwards. If we can take a closer look at these roots, you can see that they are furry. So these are going to be extra little bits, or increasing the surface area of the root so that they can get more water and more nutrients.
Third one is the Thigmotropism. Thigmotropism is the response of plants to touch. The macahiya plant closes its leaves when touched, but after a few minutes, the leaves open and return to their original position. Thigmotropism is the response of plants to touch, and the best example of this is macahiya. Watch the video for the experimental explanation. Third is Geotropism. Roots of plants tend to grow with the pull of gravity. Stems tend to grow against it. This property is called Geotropism. Geotropism helps anchor a plant in the soil. That is the Geotropism. For more further explanation, please watch the video clip on the next slide.
Geotropism may be defined as the coordinated orientational response of a plant to the force of gravity. Geotropism is exhibited by all higher plants and many lower plants, including certain immobile animals. Plant roots are usually positively geotropic and move towards the stimulus of gravity, while shoots are negatively geotropic and move away from gravity. The effect of auxins in roots is just the opposite to that in the shoot tips. In roots, auxins accumulate on the lower side of the roots and retard rather than accelerate the growth and extension of cells on the lower surface, thereby causing a downward curvature of the roots. In this experiment, we'll be investigating the effect of gravity on the growing roots of germinating seeds. For this experiment, we'll need the following: a large petri dish, germinating seeds with straight roots, filter papers. Take the petri dish and line the bottom of the plate with filter paper pads. Wet the filter paper by adding some water. Take 3 germinating seeds with straight roots and place them on the filter paper pad in such a way that one seed has its root facing downwards, one seed with its root facing upwards, and the third seed has its root facing sideways, like you see here. Cover the petri plate with its lid. You may adjust the thickness of the filter paper pad such that when the petri plate is covered, the seeds are pressed by the lid against the pad and remain in position. Alternatively, you may arrange the seeds in the petri dish in this manner. Either way, once the setup is complete, position the petri plate vertically in this manner. Place the petri plate in the dark for a few days. After a few days, observe the roots in the petri dish. You'll notice that the roots have begun to bend downwards along the force of gravity, suggesting that the roots are positively geotropic. You may also find that the young shoots, if they have already appeared, begin to bend away in an opposite direction to the force of gravity, suggesting that the shoots are negatively geotropic. The simple experiment clearly shows the positively geotropic nature of growing roots, while also showing negative geotropism in the growing shoots.
So we have the other ways where plants respond to their environment. So the first one is Dynastic Movement. Dynastic Movement refers to the opening and closing of flowers at certain times of the day. For example, the Dama de Noche opens at night, while a half-day plant opens in morning and closes in the afternoon. Last one is the Leaf Movement. Refers to the opening of plant leaves during daytime and closing at night. The leaves of acacia tree, alas cuatro flowers, and ipil-ipil are examples. Okay po, that's all for today. Thank you for listening, everyone. God bless you all. Keep safe and enjoy learning. Goodbye. Thank you.